All right, it is 6:30, so let's get started. I would like to welcome all of you tonight to our Lindbergh Speaker Series. My name is Beth Johnston. I'm the Chief Communications Officer here for Lindbergh Schools, and it is my pleasure tonight to bring to you two experts in scholarships and preparing for success after graduation through college. Tonight, we are going to have presentations from Erica Keating, who's our director of the Lindbergh Schools Foundation, and then we'll be joined by Kate Keegan, who is our college and career counselor here at Lindbergh High School. And we are so excited to have them tonight. They're going to divide this presentation into two sections, with Erica going first and then Kate. And so please feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A while they're speaking, and then we'll break after each section to do some Q&A with each of them. So with that, it is my pleasure to hand things over to Erica Keating.
Thanks, Beth. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Or you know what, Tony, were you going to go ahead and do the slides for me? There we go. Perfect. And tell you a little bit about the Lindbergh Schools Foundation. For some of you, this might be the first time that you are being introduced to the Lindbergh Schools Foundation. Go ahead and go to the next slide. The foundation has two partner programs, one being Lindbergh Lights the Way, which you guys may have heard about. The other is the Lindbergh High School Alumni Association. If you go to the next slide for me, Tony, I'll tell you a little bit about the Alumni Association. Right now, I've been working with them a lot because this week is homecoming week, which is really big for our alumni. Tomorrow night, they are having their Distinguished Alumni Educator and Hall of Fame Awards banquet and dinner, and they'll be honoring 13 new people. But the other big piece of what they do is that they give out scholarships. So pretty much everything that they raise their funds, even tomorrow night at the banquet, all of those funds will go right back to you seniors this April and May. So since their inception, they have given more than $133,000 in scholarships. And then on the next slide, I have a little bit of information about Lindbergh Lights the Way. Just a few more programs that you may have heard of. Their summer cafe program, where they take food to families who may need help throughout the summertime. Their utility collection and giving tree program that happens around the holidays to help families who are in crisis or in need. Their college kickstart program to help seniors who are getting ready to graduate and getting ready to go to college, but may not have everything that they need to go to college because of crisis situations or other needs. They'll step in and help with that. And then student activities assistance. So helping with any type of student need. Today, being able to help a student who really wanted to go to homecoming and helping with the cost associated with going to the homecoming dance. And then on our next slide, I'll talk to you a little bit. There's a couple big main things that the foundation does. One are our foundation innovation grants, which you may have seen us come through the schools with big checks. That was pre-COVID. Post-COVID, I've been able to sneak in with boxes of supplies that the teachers have needed, other special innovative type grants and things that they need for their classroom in the here and now. We've changed up our system and the way we're doing things a little bit, and that it used to be a very set period that they would have to apply for a grant and then receive that money for the grant. Now our teachers can apply at any time throughout the school year. As soon as they have a need, they can apply with us, and we try to fill that need right away. And then the next slide is just a few pictures of some of our teachers. This was last year, getting some of those things that they needed right away in their classroom. So we were able to give away about $31,000 in grants last year. And then let's get to the next slide, which is our scholarships, which is why you guys are here tonight. So the foundation, we work with a multitude of different donors. Last year, I think there were 54 different types of scholarships that we offered. Every year, it changes just a tad. We may get a few more, and we may lose one that's an older one or something like that. But we will still be around that 50 to 55 different types of options that you will have when you're applying for scholarships. And the next slide shows that overall, since our inception, we have given out over $500,000 in scholarships to Lindbergh seniors. And this May, actually, it'll be in April because we moved up the timeline a little bit. We will be giving out another $75,000. So, and you can see some pictures on the next page of what we hope that this year's scholarship will look like. I hope that we're back in person. There probably will be masks on our faces, but at least we'll all be back together. That is our hope, to be back together and awarding all of you wonderful seniors. So the next slide is, how does your child, or students, if you're watching, how do you get a piece of that $75,000 scholarship pie? It's a good question. The next slide, ask yourself, would you rather be spending hours filling out those scholarship applications and being that kid on the left, or do you want to spend years paying off those student loans and being the kid on the right? I hope, if you're listening, you'll take some time to fill out some scholarship applications. Something that I really want to stress to you is that you don't have to be the 4.0 straight A student to apply for all of our scholarships. There are some scholarships that are for grades, that are for kids who are 100% involved in a million different things. But then there's also scholarships for those who may be on the other end and they have one thing that they're really into and they have strong grades, but they're not the highest. So don't count yourself out just because you're not in the top 1% of your class. And then next slide. This is our timeline. I feel like I'm going fast. So if you have questions as I'm going, keep them in mind, type them in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end. But our timeline is starting today, and actually yesterday. There's a Canvas course that was created, and every senior was added to that Canvas course. What they need to do is when they go into Canvas for the first time since yesterday, hopefully they'll go on there today. Up at the top, it'll say you've been added to a course and you have to accept it. Once they accept that course, they will have access to every scholarship. And they will have the ability to start applying and start working on the scholarships from today all the way through January 10th. And I should have that on here. Oh, I do at the bottom, January 10th. So they will be working. You'll be able to work all throughout. In every couple of weeks, as I hear from donors and start to receive funds, I will add more scholarships. So right now, I think there's 15 or 16 open scholarship applications on there, but I'll continue to add those all the way through until probably early December. And then everything will close and be done on January 10th. And then the next slide shows you what happens after January 10th. After January 10th, the counseling department will take all the applications and make them anonymous. So we'll take all the names off and assign numbers, and then we'll send them out to all of our donors so that they can score them and select them. And then that takes a while for these groups to get together. I wish it was something that could be done overnight, but it's not. It takes a little while. So then in early March, you will get a phone call and an email if you've gotten a scholarship, if you've been selected for a scholarship, inviting you to our foundation scholarship night. You go to the next slide, Tony. Thanks. And that night this year is on Tuesday, April 5th. So if you are receiving an invitation, that means you will be getting a scholarship on Tuesday, April 5th. And then within a week or so, you will receive your check. There are a couple of scholarships that we have that require that I send the check directly to the school, but for the most part, we send the check straight to the students so that they can use them right away for tuition, books, school supplies, computers, whatever they need. Okay, so that is the timeline. Let's look at this year's application. So I am going to switch and screen share if that's okay. We're going to go to the Canvas page. So I'm having you look at it kind of from my point of view, but it is supposed to be a student view. So if your student goes to their dashboard, or mom and dad, of course, well, let's leave student view. I'll show you a little bit what a dashboard looks like for those of you who haven't been on Canvas in a while. You'll see all of your students' classes, but you'll also see one that says Foundation Scholarships 21-22 school year. And you'll click onto that. You're seeing my children. I have children at the high school and middle school. That's what you were seeing. And I'm going to go ahead and click back into student view so you can see what the student will see when they go. When they come into the Foundation Scholarship Canvas course, they'll have this main page here. And there's really 3 places you can go. You can go to them down here, you can go to them over here. So click here to start. You're going to click there. And it will take you to the modules page. And it has number 1, start here. And you're going to go through 1A, 1B, and 1C. 1A is just going to give you a list of all of the scholarships that are eligible that you are welcome to make a copy of, just like this. So click make a copy. It's taking a second. Well, this is actually part 1 of the application. Looks like maybe I have to update this a little bit. So this is what you will get when you go to part 1. My apologies. See, I tried this earlier today. Let's go back to modules. Part 1 should just give you a list of all of the scholarships that are available. Part 1C should give you part 1 that you need to fill out. I'm sorry, there's questions now because I'm confusing things. Okay, and that's when you'll make your copy and you'll have part 1 general information. This piece right here is something that every student has to fill out. It doesn't matter if you're applying for 1 scholarship or if you're applying for 25. You have to fill this out and you fill it out once. Name, it's all the basic information. Somebody else is in here right now. There we go. And then down here, you will have your leadership example. There's some examples of different things that you have done throughout school. You're looking at freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, senior year. It's really going to be a good picture for the people who are grading your scholarships of what you've done. There's a page for leadership, a page for service, a page for extracurricular activities, a page for sports, work experience, special awards, and honors. Make sure that you fill out every single piece. I'm going to go ahead and hop back out of this and back to our home. So once you've filled out, your student has filled out part 1 of the scholarship application right here. Every student must complete. Then you can go here and part 2 will give you some instructions. And these are all of the currently available scholarships. So when you click on the Lisa Amen Memorial Scholarship, you can click here to access the specific form for her scholarship. You'll make a copy so that it's yours. You'll always make a copy. And it will tell you the criteria that you need for that scholarship. So Lisa Annette Amen excelled in singing and drama. She was an aspiring actor. So this person that's going to apply for this needs to be involved in musical theater. They have to have some letters of recommendation. It tells you everything that you need to know. Your students and your children know how to do these assignments. This is how they work through everything. Once they have finished this, they will submit their assignments through Canvas just like they do all of their homework. And I have on here too, we'll give you a score of 1 once we've received your submission. It just means that we've gotten your submission. If you don't get a score of 1, then something happened and you need to let myself or Mrs. Burns know. Back at the home, you can see again that I've got contacts and support. And I've got Mrs. Burns, who's in the counseling office, which you can always stop by and see her. I've got Mrs. Keegan, who you're going to meet here in a second, and myself on here. And don't hesitate really to send us questions when you get stuck or confused on something. So that is a little overview of the Canvas course. It looks like I do have one little thing that I need to fix, and I will do that as soon as we are finished with this speaker series. So my apologies on that very first link going to the wrong thing. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and hop back, Tony, to, I think we were on slide number 16. Does that sound right? Maybe. Go ahead, one more. There we go. So how do you pick? when you go through that list and you see all those different ones, just get personal with it. Have fun, look at the things that make sense. If you read it and it doesn't talk to you, it doesn't sound like you, then it's probably not going to be something that you're interested in enough to actually apply and shine in that application. Go ahead to the next slide, please. Thanks. When you're writing the essay, every single one of those scholarships has an essay portion. You're going to want to write from the heart. They're going to already have that first portion that shows who you are, all the clubs you've been in, your extracurriculars, your grades. They'll have a copy of your transcript too. Let your readers know who you are beyond all of that. What are you beyond those pages? And how can you connect with them? And if it tells you only have 250 or 300 words, don't repeat that essay prompt. If it says, what are you going to do with the next 5 years of your life? Don't say, I think I am going to do with the next 5 years of my life, blah, blah, blah. You've just wasted 10 of your words, really not telling them anything. Use your own, change it up, use your own words. And again, avoid using quotes. This is something that I've heard. Try to really be original and use your own words. You have 250 to 300 words to get these people to know who you are. Don't copy somebody else's words. Next slide. There again, tell your story. Talk about why are you deserving of the scholarship? What have you gone through? What hardships have you accomplished? What are you proud of? And then if it says, what will you spend the money on? Don't say that it's going to pay for books or for a computer. Talk about what your goals are, what those books and that computer is going to help you achieve. Go further, go beyond those books and computer and school supplies. And go to the next slide. A couple of extra tips. These are just things that I've picked up over the last few years and really helping students with this. Research. I know seniors. I know how busy you are. I know how much is on your plate, but just like an extra 5 minutes in researching who's giving the scholarship, and it'll say up at the top of my scholarships who it's given by. What might they be interested in knowing about you? If it is a club that is really interested in service that's giving the scholarship, then let them know about your service. If the scholarship's in memory or honor of someone, find out who that person is, and figure out how you relate to them. Go ahead on to the next one. And then fill out everything. This is a pro tip. I don't get to score these. I just help manage them, so I don't get to grade them, but I do hear from my donors after they read them, and there will be pieces that say it's optional. Do it anyway. It can only help. I mean, if you don't do it, it's not going to help you. It's just blank. If you can fill out a section, fill out a section. Find something to tell those donors so that they can get to know who you are. And then when you're finished, have at least one person, if not two, good writers and proofreaders check your application. You're going to check it for content, structure, grammar, your spelling, your word limit. Don't kill yourself over the word limit though. If you're off by a couple of words, my donors have promised you they don't have time to sit there and read every single word, but you want to stay as nice and concise as you can. Make sure that you satisfied all the requirements. And then I think on my last slide here, I just have a few other scholarship sources. These are 3 different websites that I use personally with my son, but also look at Facebook, like get on the Lindbergh pages and different pages, get on the college pages is where your students are going to school, watch your local papers. A lot of things come by word of mouth. Have your students ask through their jobs, their high school jobs. My son is a caddy and there are caddy scholarships. Like just ask and ask and ask again. And then when you have more questions, you're going to ask Ms. Keegan because she knows all of the things about everything beyond the foundation scholarships. I think those are all of my tips. This will be recorded The slide deck will be shared. It'll be saved on the school's YouTube channel, and it'll also be on the foundation website so that you'll be able to do that. So we can look at a few of these questions here. See, Melinda asked, have you noticed any changes in volunteer or leadership criteria from scholarships because of COVID? No, honestly. And if I would have seen it probably last year. If you feel like you or your child was not able to do some of the things that they normally would have because of COVID, then they need to write about that. If they're struggling right now to find stuff to do, then I think they need to look a little bit harder, because there's a lot of opportunities right now for our kids. I feel like COVID actually maybe gave us even a few more opportunities for that volunteer and leadership service. And sometimes it's really thinking outside of the box. But ask for help, ask me, ask Ms. Keegan, ask teachers, and we can try to help your student. And then Ida, how long does each scholarship application usually take to fill out? And do applications ask for letters of rec? Okay. Depends. I don't feel like they take terribly long, but it really depends on how much you're getting. It's like you want to pour yourself into it. If you connect with a specific scholarship, it's not going to be hard for you to write about that specific thing. And then the other question, it just went away. What was it? It was a two-part question. What was the other part? Do you remember, Kate? Ida, what was that other part?
If you need letters of recommendation.
Oh, it'll say on there. There are a few. We have maybe like 5 or 6 that require letters of recommendation. We'll tell you who you need to get it from, if it's a coach, if it's a teacher, if it's somebody you volunteer with, they'll let you know. Yeah, and then Jasmina, Miss Keegan will be talking to you about other scholarships. As far as the foundation scholarships, they are all right now for seniors. My tip to underclassmen, that page that I showed you, that where you needed to start filling out your leadership, your extracurriculars, your work experience, make a copy of that. And it's linked on my website, LindberghFoundationSTL.com. Start filling it out now. Keep a copy of it in your Google Drive. And every time you do something, add to it. You can always clean it up when you're a senior, but the more you put on there now, as you're going through it as a freshman, sophomore, junior, the easier it'll be your senior year instead of trying to go backwards and remember everything. Boy, I talk a lot. Any other questions for me before I turn it over to the wonderful Kate Keegan? Okay. I'm going to let you take it away, and Tony will put your slides on the screen.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. Everybody, make sure you take advantage of those scholarships. We'd love to see kids applying for as many of those as they are eligible for. So take advantage of them. They're out earlier this year, which is amazing. Like Erica said, I'm Kate Keegan. I'm the college and career counselor at Lindbergh High School. So I'm just going to kind of go off of what Erica started talking about. She was obviously talking about the foundation scholarships, and I'm going to talk about more general scholarships. So Tony, if you could go to the next slide, please. And financial aid. Next slide, please. We're having Tony, could you go to the next slide, please? Oh, we're having some.
He's having a little technical.
Okay, a little technical difficulty.
1 second, yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna hop out and hop back in.
Sorry about that. Well, I'll kind of talk while we're waiting for that. There are different kinds of scholarships. There are the bulk of scholarship money comes from the universities themselves. So these can be 2 different types from the university. They can be merit-based, which are strictly based on a student's GPA and or ACT score. This has gotten a little bit more complicated with COVID because a lot of schools are going test optional, meaning that you don't have to submit an ACT or SAT score to be admitted into a university. However, that might affect scholarship opportunities. So you want to check with each school what they're looking for as far as scholarships. And since I got kind of out of line with the slides, so I'll continue talking about this and then I'll go back to the FAFSA. So you want to make sure if you're choosing to apply without an ACT score, if that affects your scholarship opportunities. So these merit-based scholarships are typically scholarships that you do not have to fill out a separate application. You're applying for admission into a university and they're automatically considering you for scholarships based on that GPA and or ACT score. Then once you've been accepted to a university or once you've completed the application, then they will allow you to have access to their competitive scholarships. And these competitive scholarships are usually an additional application. They're all listed on each college's website. You're typically applying for scholarships with your due to your intended major or an activity or something that you plan on being involved on at that campus. And like I said, they are competitive. They'll have a separate deadline from your admissions application, and only those that get selected get this scholarship money, and typically they're renewable each year. In addition to those two types of scholarships from the universities, there are also financial need or need-based scholarships. That's all dependent on your FAFSA, which I'll talk about in a moment. The other part of scholarships are, there are scholarships that are not affiliated at all with the university. These are independent scholarships, usually put on by a company, or like Erica said, your employer. You can check with your employer, different organizations, businesses, things like that. So these are typically a one-time sum. So if I win a scholarship for $1,000, I will get $1,000 one time. They are not renewable. These are also not necessarily based on your merit. They may take that into consideration, but it could be, you could be eligible for them because you're left-handed or because the color of your eyes or an activity that you are involved in. There are a couple of different ways that where you can find these scholarships, and I'll show you that in a moment. So we're going to go back to the FAFSA slide. Sorry about that, Tony. We got out of whack here. So applying for need-based financial aid. You are going to hear a lot of information about the FAFSA. I will be sending out an email shortly about that. What it stands for is the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Again, it's a free application for federal student aid. So if anybody asks you to pay money to fill out for financial aid or scholarships, you don't want to do that. So come October 1st of your senior year, so just about 2 weeks away, the FAFSA opens. You cannot start the FAFSA before then. What you are doing with the FAFSA is that you are applying for federal and state grant money, which is money like scholarship money that you do not have to pay back. You're also applying for federal issued loans and work study. On the FAFSA, you'll list every school that you are applying to. And then once it's done, you'll be putting in your parents' financial information from their W-2s. It's prior year. So if you're applying to college, if you're a senior now, you are applying to college for fall 2022. The tax information that will be needed is from 2020. You'll put in that information, and then you'll get something back called an SAR, which is a student aid report. And it'll tell you how much federal and state grant money you're eligible for, if any, based on that income. They then send that information to the schools, and the schools determine if they're going to give you any other financial aid based on those numbers. And then well into next semester, you'll get a financial aid award letter from each university you've been accepted to with that information. Like I said, I'll be sending out emails about this later, and I'm always happy to sit down and talk to families about it. But the big thing you want to remember is it opens October 1st. You might also hear some colleges will go beyond wanting just the FAFSA. They'll want something called the CSS profile. This is like the FAFSA, but it's going to take even a greater look into your family's finances. So if that's something that you see that a school is requiring, you can always come and talk to me. Next slide, please. Okay, we did. Thank you. Okay, where to find scholarships. One place that I'm going to show you is we've started a new partnership with a company called School Links. And that if you heard me talk about Naviance in the past, that is something that we're no longer using. We're now excited to be working with School Links. I have that linked to this presentation that will be shared out. Within School Links, there's tons of things that students can do for post-high school planning. One of the really great things is that it lists all the scholarships that Erica just mentioned from the foundation, and then any other scholarships nationally, locally, or regionally. We post them there, or they're automatically put into School Links. So once you log your students, I went into all the senior English classes over the last few weeks, and I shared out the presentation, showed students how to get onto School Links and where to find this information. But all the any scholarship opportunities that you're looking for are posted in School Links. As we mentioned a couple times, you always want to check with your employers. If students have a job, that's great to go talk to them about whether or not that they have any scholarships, banks, or any organization that you might be a part of in the community. There are also, and I know Erica posted some as well, there's some also scholarship databases, and I've linked a few here. I would not recommend signing up for more than one of these, just because students will get inundated with a ton of emails with repetitive scholarship opportunities. But this is a great way to make sure that they're getting access to all these scholarships that are available to them. Next slide, please. Tips for scholarship. As I mentioned before, do not pay for anything. If they're asking you to pay for a scholarship, you don't want to do that. Protect your identity. Students, don't give out your social security number. There's no reason that they would need that for a scholarship application. Local scholarships are always your best bet. You're competing against a smaller pool of applicants. And definitely there's lots of those out there. You just want to make sure what you're applying for, and always read the fine print. Stay organized. Senior year is extremely overwhelming with everything that students have going on. It's really helpful to have a separate email address, separate from their Lindbergh email, one for just college applications and scholarships. Have a spreadsheet or a folder with all your different passwords and different deadlines, because there will be a lot of them. And just, I recommend students setting aside 10, 15 minutes a day, or whatever, whatever little amount of time that they can, just to kind of get some of these applications started. Once those 15 minutes have gone on, they'll decide that, you know what, I'll do another 15 minutes. So it's a really good idea, just to allow yourself a little bit of time each day and at least get some of that stuff done. Next slide, please. I've linked some useful tools here, different vocabulary that you'll hear when you're filling out the FAFSA and you're going through the financial aid process through colleges. And then there's a couple of helpful videos. Washington University has a very helpful video about financial aid and the understanding of it. And then also I've listed a list of schools with reduced tuition for Missouri residents. So these could be some states that board Missouri, or that border Missouri, and they give our students in-state tuition. Some are based on ACT and GPA, but take a look at that for sure. Next slide. Yep. And I think that is it. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has about scholarship or financial aid or anything at all. If you'd like to either ask or put in the chat, I'm happy to answer those.
we did a lot of information really, really fast. I don't know, Kate, we went through that one like hyper speed. We are here. Oh, there you go, Kate.
Where do we get those links specifically for the Missouri tuition on the last slide? We will be sharing this presentation out, and everything that is underlined is linked in that presentation. And for some reason, if you can't find it or you don't get it, please email me, and I'm happy to answer that question as well as any others.
I'm just double checking right now, but even on my, the foundation website, Lindbergh Foundation, STL.com is under construction, but under student parent information, I have the slide deck from last year in there, which has those same links. So, and then I will be updating that as well, that slide deck with this new one.
And I know somebody typed out the question earlier about if sophomores or juniors if there were any scholarship opportunities for them. Typically not for sophomores, not to say that there never are, but typically not. You will occasionally find some that juniors can start applying for. The bulk of them really do come out during your senior year. And what I recommend to students is get those college applications done early. Really, if you can, before Thanksgiving break. That way they have plenty of time to focus on scholarships and getting in those scholarship applications. Do the students know how to use SchoolLink? So that's a great question. So like I mentioned earlier, myself and Mrs. Kinsler and Dr. Riechmeyer went into all the senior English classes over the last couple of weeks and did a presentation on post-high school planning. And really, we got them all logged into SchoolLink, make sure that they could do that. They completed the onboarding process. And we will be doing the same thing for juniors. It is very user-friendly. I've been sending out information via email to parents and students, but if kids ever have questions about needing help getting on, please email me or come and see me, and I'm happy to do that. Another good question, does applying early increase your chance of merit aid? It certainly can. So really, some schools, there's different deadlines for college applications. And one big one is it's something called rolling admissions, meaning that a student can apply at any time and be accepted at any time. So for example, if I applied to Missouri State today, Missouri State would go through all of my application materials and then let me know as soon as they were done reviewing them, whether or not I've been accepted. Just because I can apply at any time and get accepted at any time, you want to pay attention to things that are called priority deadlines. And that is really, they want you to try to apply by that priority deadline, because then you'll be considered for all of those merit-based scholarships that you're eligible for. So some schools, if you apply past that priority deadline, they'll still give you the scholarships you are eligible for. But to make sure that you do get all the scholarships you're eligible for, it's really important to apply by that priority deadline. And those are usually around December 1st and December 15th. Let's see here.
And there's a gentleman, I says Jim is raising his hand. I don't know if you want me to do.
Okay, yeah, I'll answer this question real quick.
Okay.
And
oh, there's a bunch.
I just was kind of laughing here. Yeah, this program, we've been really happy with SchoolLinks. Naviance wasn't quite as easy to navigate, so we have been really happy with SchoolLink. So students have been giving me very positive feedback, which is awesome. There's a question here about the presentation tomorrow night for early college. Yes, I will be talking for those of you who have students that are in the early college program. I will be talking about SchoolLinks. I will be giving the exact same presentation I did in the English classes. Let's see here. Oh, did somebody else have a question, Erica? Did you want me to answer that first?
Well, I don't know. Should I? Jim, he still has it up. Jim, are you able to ask your question? Or maybe not.
Okay, if not, or you can go ahead and type it as well. I'll keep.
Yeah, just type it in there. Okay.
Okay, there is a website called raiseme.com that allows students to start earning micro scholarships starting in 9th grade, but by senior year, it can turn into a nice amount. It also has other information to help with college. That is a good point. RaiseMe raiseme.com is a great tool to use. A lot of the scholarships you're getting the points for, you'd get them regardless once you went to apply for those merit-based, but it's a great way to keep kids motivated and get them motivated freshman year if they sign up for that raiseme.com, because they can see what joining another activity or, you know, raising their GPA, what kind of scholarships that they'd be eligible for. So thank you for that. Another question, let's see. How long does it take to get decision on your application from schools with rolling deadlines? So that's a great question. For those schools that have rolling deadlines, a few examples would be Mizzou, Missouri State, Truman, SEMO. It all depends. Obviously, right now is the most popular time for students to be applying. So that could kind of slow down the process. But I've had students who have turned in their application and had me get their transcript over, find out in 2 days. So it's a range from really 48 hours to 2 weeks, just depending on how busy and how many applications a school is processing. And keep in mind, some schools do have specific deadlines. And with those, if a deadline, say, is on December 1st, all the students' materials need to be in by December 1st. They won't accept anything on December 2nd or after. And then the admissions representatives will read all of the applications, and they'll have a date where they'll let everybody know whether or not they've been accepted. So every school is a little bit different. So you really, when you go to apply to these schools, you want to make sure that you know these deadlines. You don't want to miss anything. Where is the best place to go to find colleges that will accept IB class credits? That's a great question. It changes every year. If your student knows what schools they have in mind for attending IB, for attending school after graduation, then you can always check the school's website and see what they're accepting. You can reach out to me and I can give you a list of what I have. So I'm happy to do that. Once a student requests transcripts, counselors rec through school links. How long does it take for those to be sent? That's a great question. So for a student that is applying for to get into a school and they request their transcripts, if it's not through the Common App, they're usually sent out within 24 hours. If a school applies using the Common App, they need additional documents that go with that, and that can take a few weeks. I pay attention to all the deadlines and I make sure that they get there before the deadlines. So, but if you have questions, you can certainly let me know.
I think this might have been a mistake. So I want to go ahead and remove that. Anything else? Kate and I also will go in. Oh, there's another one. We will also go in and do a couple of help sessions as scholarship deadlines get closer, especially for the foundation one. I'll make myself available during like power lunch time that they can come visit in the library and ask questions or show me essays and have me read them, those types of things. So I'll do that at least twice, if not more, probably in late November and mid-December as we get closer. And Kate, I don't know if you type or you can go ahead and answer anyone. I know that, I mean, that's a big question about class rank. So.
And I'll go ahead. So somebody asked if there's no, if the class rank is no longer on the report card, how can they get that information? This year is the last year that we will be reporting class rank. And if your student needs that information for college applications or scholarship applications, they can now download a PDF of their transcript, of their unofficial transcript in school links. So they'll be able to have all that information right there at their fingertips. However, if you don't know how to do that, you can always ask me, or if they just want to know their class rank, I'm happy to answer that question. So they can just shoot me an email. Just had a lot of great questions.
I know, it's good. Are there going to be any scholarship or early college?
I'll go ahead and answer that.
Okay.
For early college students, one of our programs here that Lindbergh offers, we're getting a question if there'll be any scholarships that are specific for these early college kids. And no, not necessarily, because these.
Actually, on the foundation.
Oh,
on
there are-
Canvas,
Oh, there are.
not very like completely specific to early college, but specific to kids who are going to community college or kids who are going into vocation versus a traditional four-year college. So make sure you read through and continue to watch, because that might be something that hops on. It's not specifically only for kids that are early college, but you never know. You could have a donor call me tomorrow and say that they want to do a scholarship for kids who are doing early to college.
Good questions. And we know that was a lot of information. Please don't hesitate to reach out to Erica regarding the foundation scholarships. I can always answer those questions as well, but absolutely about anything about financial aid or scholarships, or of course, college applications or career related.
And if you're not observing your kids' courses on Canvas, I urge you to do that. You can always sign up so that you don't get all of the notifications, but that way you can get in and you can look at it with them and you can see if you have time, you know, to give them a little hand and read through stuff, and call me if there's questions, because some of it is confusing. I think we answered all our questions.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you guys taking the time to come and listen to us. So as we said before, please feel free to reach out and ask any questions that you might still have.
Thank you so much. We will have this posted soon and shared out as soon as we can. Have a good night.
Thank you.